This is AITV News. At a moment when Washington can barely agree on the day of the week, an unlikely duo is trying to head off a new war in the Middle East. Conservative Republican Thomas Massie of Kentucky and progressive Democrat Ro Khanna of California have joined forces on a measure that would stop President Trump or any president from launching a shooting war with Iran unless Congress first says yes. Why now? Iran and Israel exchanged direct strikes this month, raising fears that a regional firefight could spiral. If Israel calls for help or American forces in the area come under attack, pressure would mount on the White House to hit back. Many lawmakers worry that in the heat of that moment, a president could act alone, and the United States would find itself in yet another open-ended conflict. Massie and Khanna say the Constitution leaves the decision to declare war to Congress, not the Oval Office. To enforce that idea, their amendment takes aim at the money. It forbids the Pentagon from spending a single dollar on offensive military action against Iran unless both chambers have passed a specific authorization for it. They're tacking the proposal onto the National Defense Authorization Act, the massive must-pass bill that funds the U.S. military every year, giving their language a built-in vehicle to become law. A similar effort is underway in the Senate. Democrat Tim Kaine of Virginia, who co-wrote the 2013 War Powers Compromise on Syria, has introduced standalone legislation reinforcing that a president needs Congress before attacking Iran. The House and Senate versions aren't identical, but together they signal a serious bipartisan unease. Cautionary, about handing any commander-in-chief a blank check. The larger fight is as old as the Republic. The framers made the president commander-in-chief, but gave Congress the power to declare war. Since World War II, though, presidents from both parties have sent troops into combat on their own authority, citing national emergencies, United Nations resolutions, or long-expired permissions granted for earlier wars. After the Vietnam era, Congress tried to reset the balance with the 1973 War Powers Resolution. But every administration since has called the law unconstitutional or simply ignored its deadlines. Supporters of the Massie-Khanna plan argue that locking down funding is the best way to force a real vote before lives are put on the line. Critics counter that presidents sometimes need to respond in minutes, not wait for Capitol Hill to argue for weeks, and they warn that tying the purse strings could invite aggression from Tehran. The politics are fluid. The House has a razor-thin Republican majority, and leadership often steers clear of any measure seen as limiting presidential power, particularly with a GOP president in office. In the Senate, defense hawks of both parties have already voiced concern, and the White House, unsurprisingly, is lobbying against the effort, calling it dangerous and short-sighted. Still, the fact that libertarian-leaning Massie and staunch progressive Khanna are rowing in the same direction matters. When lawmakers from opposite ideological poles agree, the political middle sometimes follows. Even if their amendment is whittled down or stripped out, the debate it sparks could force Congress to confront, on the record, whether it is willing to take responsibility for decisions of war and peace. So keep an eye on the defense bill as it winds through committees and floor votes over the next few weeks. The amendment may survive, be watered down, or vanish in late-night negotiations. Whatever its fate, the push has reopened a fundamental question. Who in America decides when we fight? That answer, for now, is still up for grabs.